In our storyboard lessons, we covered a very simple way of navigating from one screen to another. We're going to pursue that a little bit more and show you different ways of navigating the app and how to pass data. We're going to start by looking at the navigation controller. So we have a new project here, and we have a basic view controller. And I'm going to change the size of these to a bit smaller so we can see them better, because we're going to be adding some things. The first thing I'm going to add is a navigation controller. And I'll drag that on. And you can see I actually got two forms. And again, I'll resize them. So I have my navigation controller, and then I got a root view controller. And the root view controller by default is a table view. And this is basically set up in order for you to do a master detail. So your table view might have a list of items or a list of actions for the application. And then it would navigate to other screens that either did the actions or showed the details of the actual list item. But that's not really what I want to do for right now. So I'm going to select that and delete him. Okay. So now I have a navigation controller and the standard view controller. This little arrow is our storyboard entry point. And I want my navigation controller to be my entry point. So I'll select that and just simply move him over. So now my navigation controller is indeed the entry point of the application, and it's going to control the first thing that we see. And the first thing that I want it to see is this scene. So I'm going to hold Control button and drag down and create a segue. In this case, I'm going to create a root view controller segue. That will now make this view controller the main screen of the application. You'll note that it also gave me this little navigation item area. And I get this essentially for free when I'm using the navigation controller. And we'll see how it works. But the first thing I want to do is I want to create a title for this. And we'll call it View 1. And there'll be a prompt. And obviously this is all optional. And the back button. Now this is going to be a little bit counterintuitive, but you'll see how it works. This is going to create a back button that goes back to this view. It won't actually be shown on this view. It will be shown on any subsequent views that this view is navigated from. But we define what that back button says in this view. And we'll see that in just a little bit. And the last thing I want to do is I actually want to add a button that will be going to a second view. And we'll stretch that out so we can see it. And we're all set there. We'll slide him a bit and slide him a bit. And now we're going to get our second view controller. So I scroll up to the top. And the first object is a view controller. And I'll drag that on. And set my size. And line that up. Now I would also like to set the name of this scene, just so I don't get too confused. So this is going to be View 2. So now I have the View 1 scene and the View 2 scene and the navigation controller scene. And now I want to add a navigation item onto this view controller. So this is the navigation item, not the navigation controller. So this is just that top title bar control. And now when I drag that on, you don't see anything visual on the view at this point. However, we do see that it does exist. And it has a title area. So I'm going to have the title view 2 and the prompt. Spelled completely inappropriately, of course. Much better. And I'm not going to put in anything for the back button because I'm not going to go any further with this. If I did add some view controllers that this view 2 navigated to, I might want to add something for that back button. But I'm not going to go that far. You'll see how the back button works just between view 1 and view 2. We still can't see that navigation item, however, and the reason is nothing is navigating to this view. So let's fix that. We'll select our button, hold Control down, and drag over. We'll just create a simple show segue. And now, like magic, my navigation is now available. All right, so we have our navigation item set up here with its back. We have our navigation item set up on view 2 and no back button. We have our button and its corresponding segue. So we should be all set. So let's see how this works. So here's view 1. It has the prompt and the title. These are optional, by the way. They don't have to be in there. And here's our button to go to view 2. And when I click on it, I do indeed go to view 2. And you can see I have the back button text that I put on the view 1 navigation item. But it shows up in view 2. And it would show up in any subviews of view 1. Here you can also see I have the prompt and the title for view 2. You can also see that this back button text is way too long, takes up too much space, and just basically doesn't look very good. So I can just put, more typically, back, or I can put nothing at all and I'll just have the arrow. And when we click back, it goes back to view 1. So that's what I was hoping for. Now, did you notice anything about all of this? Let's go take a look at the Swift code. There's none. This is all done in the storyboard using a navigation controller. So I was able to segue from back and forth to views and actually put in a little bit of a title bar and a back button. And I got that all for free without writing any code. So that's pretty cool. Now, of course, we might want to pass data from one view to another. And we'll talk about that in the next lesson.